Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So I'm very excited because I got the new NATASHA DENONA XENON palette. This is a midi size. So this is the size that pretty much I purchased from NATASHA DENONA. And yeah, so I have it. I will say this is not a color story for me, so I'm curious. It is actually much prettier in person, and it also looks more user-friendly in person than I expected. But it's not a color story for me. I gravitate more towards warm tones, and then this is just very, it's very cool tone. But I'm curious about it. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so from the NATASHA DENONA website, it says the long-awaited midi-size XENON eyeshadow palette is a sultry, cool tone, 15-shade extension to the best-selling Mini XENON color story, showcasing a hypnotizing assortment of multi-dimensional blacks, vivid grays, and icy pinks in Natasha's iconic formulas, as well as her new innovative sparkling foiled and sparkling wet effect finishes. This edgy glam essential offers a contrasted versatility of looks from subtle everyday to the ultimate smoky eyes, and it says it is limited edition. So now limited edition with NATASHA DENONA isn't like limited edition with other brands. Her limited editions usually are around a while and at some point will go on sale. So that's what I will say. I do expect this one to go on sale at one point. The Love was a limited edition, and it was around for a while. So it is $69, and as I stated, it is the midi size. Now it's available on her, I think it's available everywhere now. It's available on her website. I do have a promo code with NATASHA DENONA. It will save you, I think, 15%. And the code is just Shannon. However, I purchased mine at Ulta for two reasons. One, Ulta tends to be a little bit faster than NATASHA DENONA. NATASHA DENONA, you never know when it's actually going to ship out, and it does take a little bit of time. And then also when this went on sale, it went on sale on Ulta. I had a 20% promo code, so, and I had some points that I could use. So, however, in true Ulta fashion, it arrived broken. So you can see that this shade right here was cracked. They are sending me a new one. So with with NATASHA DENONA, usually it's packed really well. So I do recommend purchasing it from NATASHA DENONA or even Sephora. But again, I had a promo code and I took the risk. Now it is something that I can utilize. It was just it was cracked, it wasn't shattered, it wasn't everywhere, but it was just in a box. It wasn't in one of their bubblers. It was in a box, but it was just loose. It was like bouncing around. So anyway, but everything else is good. So this is the palette. So this is the XENON palette, and I'm anxious to get into it. Okay, so let's get into doing the swatches, and what I'm going to do is what I've done in the past with other palettes, especially ones that are kind of monochrome. I am going to swatch first all the mattes from lightest to darkest, and then I'm going to swatch the similar formulas from lightest to darkest. That way you kind of see if there is true, because when it's broken up like this, like these two shades look very close, but when you swatch them, they're not going to be next to each other. So I wanted to really see, how similar are the shades? Are there a lot of really close shades that you probably could, dupe within each other, or are there's a big enough difference? So that is how I'm going to swatch. So I'm not going to swatch in order. There's already people that have done that, so I'm sure you can look at one of their videos. But that's how I'm going to swatch them right now. And interesting enough, there is only 4 mattes, which, I didn't even think about it, but there's only 4 mattes. So we're gonna get started with those 4 mattes. So here we go. This is Contrail, which is a matte white. Blizzard, a matte light gray. Flurry, a matte eggshell. And Snert, a matte medium gray. So those are the mattes. They're all pretty light. I think these two definitely can be a transition. Definitely not necessarily swatched great, but it's not the easiest to swatch either. Okay, next we're gonna do the 3 sparkling foiled shades. So first up we have, this is Supersonic, a sparkling foiled silver with multicolored specks. This is Skift, a sparkling foiled light medium champagne, and Cygnus, which is a sparkling foiled anthracite, whatever that is. Okay, so those are the 4 mattes, and these are the 3 sparkling foiled shades. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned my arm because they were getting too close and I didn't want to get them jumbled up. I'm going to start swatching the rest of the shades, which I believe there's 8, but look how kind of close these are. Yeah, so, but we'll swatch them. So let's see. Let's see how the different effects. They do have different finishes. So this is Stellar, which is a sparkling wet effect white. That is actually beautiful. Rhyme, which is a metallic white, and Neve, which is a sparkling metallic peony pink. And now comes the darkest shades. So we have Grayu, which is a sparkling metallic iron gray. Ebb, which is a metallic dark gray blue. Sposh, which is a matte cream powder charcoal. And Night Sky, which is a metallic black. So, so I guess there's 5 mattes because I did forget Sposh, which is it's a matte to cream formula. So there is 5 mattes if you count that one. So, you know, these just shades are so similar. And I think I did forget, actually I forgot one more. Okay, did forget one shade. This is Snowboat, and this is the Crystal Sparkling Pink with multicolor specks. So actually let's put it over on this side. We'll put it over here so you can kind of see it. So it's definitely got some pink to it. Really pretty. This is probably the most unique shade of the whole palette, but you can see these darks are very similar. These whites are very similar. Not a lot of versatility in the palette. So I'm curious. Okay, so before I get into doing some looks, and I'm probably gonna do 2 looks, I actually need to take a break and come back, but I did want to compare it to kind of do a side-by-side to the Hershey's, the Glam Light Hershey's Cookies and Cream palette, because this is also a very cool tone. This is kind of the similar color story, but this has more blues in it. But if you can kind of see, this one's got some blues in it as well, not as much as this. But this one is a lot more versatile. Obviously the formula from NATASHA DENONA is fantastic, and I think the formula is going to be fantastic. Like, that is going to be without question. And I love the formula from Glam Light, but a lot of the color story is very similar. And you know, you have a lot of blacks. Like, obviously you have a couple different versions of the black, but like, look at this. Like, here's from the Glam Light Cookies and Cream, and let me kind of just look at 2 of these from NATASHA DENONA. You know, like, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. You know, you just got a lot more versatility in this palette. This one's $22. You can even get it cheaper. You know, so I think if you are, you know, you want this because you don't have a lot of color story, and but you're unsure if you're going to use it, $69 is a lot of money. Even if you can get it at the 20% off or the 15% off on our site, or 20% off with Sephora VIB, unless this is a color story you absolutely want and need, or you just collect NATASHA DENONA, and for that you're just going to get it no matter what, like me. I don't know, I think you might want to try this one. So again, this is before I actually use it. Maybe once I get into it, I will think differently. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of compare, because I kind of, as I was swatching it, I kind of got that Hershey's Cookies and Cream vibe, and that palette is really good. It's really good for the cool tone, and you've got a lot more versatility than you do in this one. I will say, one of the things I didn't mention is the cover. The cover, this is probably my absolutely favorite cover of hers. It is so, so pretty. But you don't buy a palette for the cover, you buy what's inside. Okay, so I am back. So I am going to do 1 look on each eye, and honestly, I look at this and I have no idea what to do. So I am going to start with the shade Snert. That was the medium gray matte, so I'm going to start there. And I am going to use that as a transition shade on this side. And we are just gonna wing it, to be honest, because this, again, this is not a color story that I didn't get the mini Xenon. I also don't buy any of the minis anymore. I decluttered mine because I never reached for them. You know, the midis, once I started getting the midis, I stopped reaching for my minis, and they didn't really travel well. So I stopped using them. So I didn't get the mini Xenon, but I also wasn't tempted. It was like, oh yeah, it's not my color story. Okay, so the battery ran out, but here is the transition shade. So it's a really pretty gray. It's, you know, blended out really nice, really pretty. Medium gray, didn't need that much. It's very smooth, nice, you know, it's a gray. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with that cream to matte shade, the Swatch, I think it is. That's the black one. And I am going to just do ever so slightly a little bit of depth on the outer corner, and that's it. I'm just gonna kind of put a little bit of depth. I'm not gonna go too much, and I'm gonna go on the lower lash, the lash line, but I learned from the cookies and cream not to bring it all the way in, but I'm just going to deepen the outer corner. Okay, that went on really nicely, and I thought blended out really nicely. So, I mean, obviously it's NATASHA DENONA formula, so I'm not surprised. So I'm gonna go in with this Grey-U. I don't know if it's pronounced gray or Grey-U. It's G-R-E-U. So I'm gonna go in with that one, and I'm going to put it on the outer half of, ooh, that's really pretty. A really pretty shade. Actually, I'm gonna put it on most of the lid except for just the inner corner, and then I'm gonna go in with one of the lighter shades. But this is definitely, I think, going to be one of the this is gonna be the deeper side. Okay, so that is really pretty. Now I'm gonna go in with I think I'm gonna go in with Supersonic. Supersonic is actually no, I'm gonna go in with Rhyme, which is the first shade. So I'm gonna go in with Rhyme, and I'm going to put that in on the inner corner of this shade, of this look here. This is like I guess it's like the white shade, the metallic white. But ooh, that's really pretty. So honestly, I wasn't really excited about this palette, but I mean, I'm pretty impressed that I just came up with this eye look. Okay, I'm gonna take that first shade, Snert, and I'm gonna go in on the lower lash line as a liner. And I will tell you, I will definitely be using a lot of these shades as liners. So it's one of the reasons why I will definitely be reaching back into this. And now I'm gonna go in with that Sposh shade, the black, the cream to matte black, and I'm just gonna go in the outer half, or actually the outer third of the bottom lash line. And then I'm gonna take it and I'm going to line the top of the lash line just ever so lightly, just to kind of give it a little depth. Okay, here's this side without mascara. I'll put mascara on at the same time. Honestly, I'm really liking this eye look, and this is very deep. This is definitely glam. This is definitely going out. But the fact that I just came up with this is pretty shocking to me. Beautiful, absolutely just gorgeous. I love how bright that white is. It looks beautiful. So I don't know how it looks on camera. Hopefully it looks as good on camera than it does to me, but I'm very excited with how this one came out. So I'm gonna try and do a lighter version, and trying to do more of a light version, or a daytime, not really daytime, but somewhat daytime look, and use some of the pink shades on this side. But honestly, I really like this side. Okay, so now we're gonna go on this side, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Flurry, which was I think it was the eggshell, the matte eggshell, and I'm going to use that as a transition shade to try and go a lot lighter. Now this shade is almost, you know, on my arm, it barely showed up, and it's fairly light on this side as well, on my eyelid, but it's showing up. It's definitely showing up, but it's very light. Okay, so that is the shade Flurry on this side. And as you can see, it's very light, but it shows up. So it definitely shows up. That was my biggest concern, is whether or not it was gonna show up or not. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that shade Snert, which is what I use as a transition shade on this side. I'm gonna use that to deepen the outer corner on this side. So what was a transition shade, I'm just gonna try and use it here. So I add a little bit of depth, and but not too much and not go too dark, because there's really not any other, that's the only mid-tone you know, matte shade, and I really don't want to use a metallic for this. So I'm just going to go on the outer corner, bring it a little bit in the crease, but that's it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with this bottom shade, which is like the champagne shade, Skift. I'm going to use that all over the lid like I did the other one, and I'm going to put it on the most of it except for just the inner corner. Okay, so that looks really pretty. It's got a beautiful sparkle. I think that's the one of the sparkling foiled shades, if I can remember correctly. And then I'm gonna go in with this Neve shade, which I believe is like the one that's like got a pink, but honestly, it's very subtle. The Snowbow one, you definitely see it more, but not in this one. But I'm just gonna put that in the inner corner, just like so. And really pretty. You kind of see it here a little bit. Okay, so that went on really, really nice. Now I'm gonna take that Snert shade again and lower, put it on the lower lash line, as well as the Flurry shade. So I'm gonna take that one as well and bring that one all the way in and just line the lower lash line. Okay, so here is my, I guess, more daytime. Is it early daytime? This is early daytime, but I guess lighter look. And let me go put on mascara and see how it looks with mascara, and then I will talk about the palette. Okay, so I am back. Here are my two looks. This is the lighter one. This is the darker one. So I have to say the lighter one is it's pretty. It's not my favorite. I probably have to play around with like the shades and stuff. I did get a little mascara here, so it's a little messed up. I actually love this side, and I'm shocked about how much I love this side, mainly because I've just never, like, I'm not good at doing like a smoky eye. But okay, so my thoughts on this palette. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's the, you know, stellar Natasha Denona quality. However, this is not a palette for everybody. I thought the I Need a Nude palette was like a palette for everybody, or, you know, for a lot of people. This is a palette for, you know, I don't know, the cool tone lovers. And even if you are a cool tone lover and you aren't new to Natasha Denona, get the Glam palette, because I think the Glam palette you're gonna get more use out of. Now, if you are someone who goes out a lot and you like, you know, sultry looks, then you will love this. And I will definitely get use out of this because I don't have a lot of things like this. The only thing I have, like I said, is this Glam Light Hershey's Cookies and Cream, and it's definitely different. They're complementary, but they're similar. But if I wanted, like, I didn't get this. Now, I haven't really played with that since, but I love this. So if I was going out, you know, I was wearing a black dress and I wanted to recreate this look, I'm gonna reach for this. So, but it's not something that I felt like I needed, you know, and I honestly, let's be honest, I don't go out very often. You know, I'm 47. Like, where I go is like Disney on Ice or to Disney World. I don't go, you know, out. Those days are over for me. So I think that's where it's pretty. I have no regrets purchasing it. You know, I have my Natasha Denona Midi collection. I will get more use out of this than the pastel palette, which I do have. I just never reach for that one. I will reach for this definitely more than I will reach for the pastel. So, but am I going to reach for this over Glam? No. I think it's a good complementary palette to Glam, and I'll definitely be reaching it. Like, this cream to matte black is like perfect for doing liner, so I'll definitely reach for it there. But I think it's a really pretty palette. It's just not, it's not for everybody, and it's not something that I felt like I needed, and I will definitely use it, but it's not something, I think it's for a specific amount of people. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. I think it just depends up. Again, I like warm tones, and I don't do a lot of like sultry looks. I love how this one came out. So I think it's great, but do I recommend purchasing it? Not at $69, because I think it's just, unless you are someone that goes out a lot and parties and goes out and wants to do the smoky eye, wait for a sale. Wait for a good sale. Like, wait for a NATASHA DENONA on her website sale, not the 20% at Sephora. Wait for a really good sale if you want it. Now the packaging is amazing, but and if you want something like for occasionally, but you want good quality, but you know you're probably going to only reach for this like 1 or 2 times a year, get the Glam Light Hershey's Cookies and Cream. You're going to get similar looks. You'll be able to get, you know, I think I could create a similar look, maybe not the same exact look, but I think I could create a similar look with this palette, because this palette's really great quality. It's only $22. So again, I like it a lot. I don't love it, but I didn't think I was going to love it because of the color story. However, I like it a lot more than I thought. I just wish, one, there were more mid-tone shades. Like, I wish this shade was a little darker. There's like 3 really light matte shades, and only 1 mid-tone matte. I wish this one was more mid-tone, or maybe this one was more like you had a darker version of this one. I'm sorry, darker version of this one. You know, there's just, that's where I feel like it's missing. And there's a lot of dark shimmers now, or metallics. So I need to play around with those. I kind of need to watch other people's tutorials to figure out how I'm supposed to use those. So I think once I start playing around with it, I'm gonna watch Angela Bright did a video, I saw it post today with 2 looks. So I'm gonna watch hers. Patty Alonso, who I love, always does like a 5 looks 1 palette. So I'm hoping she does it with this one, because I really kind of don't know what to do with it, I guess I would say. But if you're on the fence, I would say hold off, wait for a sale. And if you really want that type of color story, then I would go for the Glam Light Cookies and Cream. I have a whole video on that. This one really surprised me. And you got more versatility there. You have some, you know, you have that top row of neutrals, and then you got a lot of blues and stuff, but you got some versatility here. A lot of the shades here are very similar. They're very similar. And like I said, I just kind of wish there was one more mid-tone matte, but really pretty. Do I recommend it? I think it's great for the right person. If this is a color story that calls to you, it's great, it's fantastic, it's wonderful. However, if you're like me and you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, hold off, wait for a sale, and you know, that's what I would say. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.